You know, a lot of people that watch my channel are aware of the fact that I'm fond of SIGs. In fact, some people will say I'm a SIG fanboy, but I am not a SIG fanboy. A Smith & Wesson fanboy? Maybe. A Colt fanboy? Probably. A Beretta fanboy? Definitely. But I'm not a SIG fanboy. I'm just fond of SIGs. I like them as a combat style firearm. I think of SIGs as being one of the best combat handguns on the market, so I'm quite fond of them, but I'm not a fanboy. Now, because people know I'm so fond of SIGs, everyone keeps asking me lately, when are you going to get one of the new SIG Legion series? When are you going to get one of the new SIG Legion series? The new SIG Legion series is the best SIG ever made, blah, blah, blah. If you watch the online reviews, you would think the new SIG Legion series is the best thing since sliced bread. But is it really? Is it really that much different than a regular SIG? Is it that much better? Now, there are some differences between the SIG Legion series guns and their standard guns, but are the differences really that big, and do they justify the differences in price? For example, if you take the SIG P229, if you take the Legion Series 229 and compare it to the regular 229, the difference in MSRP is about $320. Now, SIG says all the things you're getting different make the gun a bargain at that extra price. But is that true? Let's take a look at these two guns side by side, look at the differences, and see if these differences make it a better gun, and see if they make it a good value. Now, the first thing you might notice is that it's a different color. It's actually a dark gray instead of a black. It's a very subtle difference. You can notice it, but some people might not even be able to tell the difference at a first glance. The grips are also different. They are now a G10 material instead of being a plastic grip like you find on the standard guns, either the standard regular grip or the E2 grip. Now, one significant difference between the two guns is the sights. They both have night sights, but on the standard SIG, it's just standard tritium sights. On the Legion series, the rear sight is a blacked out tritium sight, and the front sight is a high visibility tritium sight. This is a big difference. I actually like these sights. The controls are also different on the SIG Legion series. They're shortened a little bit. They're a little flusher fitting to the frame of the gun. They're just a little bit smaller. They don't stick out quite as far. Now, the SIG Legion series has a little bit of a beaver tail. The standard gun doesn't have the beaver tail. The SIG Legion does have a slight beaver tail to it. Now, the rest of the differences are pretty much just some milling differences. There's some checkering on the front of the gun. There's some checkering under the trigger guard. There's some front serrations. There's a slight undercut on the trigger guard. Some general milling work has been done to this gun that makes it a little bit different. So as you can see, there are some changes. Generally, they're both the same gun. There's just some cosmetic changes to one over the other. But do those changes add up to that price difference? Do they make it worth it, much less make it a bargain? Well, let's take a look at the P229 here and look at those changes they made. And let's try to assign a dollar amount to each one of those changes and see if it makes it worth it. Now, the finish, I can't see where this finish would cost them any more money than a standard finish. That's pretty much a wash. I'm not going to add any value to the gun just because it's a different color. If there is a difference in price, it's probably pennies. It's not going to make an effect in the MSRP. Now, the grips. The G10 grips are nice. But if you were going to buy a set of G10 grips, they're not that expensive. In fact, if you bought the E2 grips or bought the G10 grips, you're only going to be paying a difference of about $20. The G10 grips, if you bought really nice ones, would be about $20 more. So that really would add only about $20 to the value of the gun because you're losing the plastic grips. You're not just getting something, you're also losing something. So you would only get the price difference, not the total value of a G10 grip. You would only get the difference in price, which is about $20. Now, the sights, once again, the sights are really nice, but are they that much more expensive than the sights that come on the standard version? You can't just look at the value of the sights alone. You have to subtract the value of the standard sights. And once again, that difference is about $20. If you buy these retail on the market, you can buy the regular tritium ones for about $20 less than you buy these high visibility ones. The reduced controls, I'm not going to add any value for that. I can't imagine that costs them more money to just bend them a little bit sooner. And as for the beaver tail, that's definitely not going to add any value in my mind. A lot of people do not like the beaver tail, do not think it belongs there. If anything, that might subtract value from the gun. But I'm just going to call it a wash. Now the milling. Now the milling is somewhere people might think there's a big cost difference, but milling is not expensive. If you went to a custom shop and had this work done, it's not very costly at all. In fact, you could do all the things this gun has done on it, the extra cuts, the extra, checkering, the undercut, etc. You can have all that done, the front serrations, for about $80. That is the most expensive change to this gun is the milling, but it's still only about $80. Now, I know a lot of people would say, well, yeah, but it's expensive to have that done because then you have to have the gun refinished. Well, that's true if you take a gun that's already been produced and have this work done to it, but they're doing this work before they produce the gun, so they're not having to have it refinished. It's still just being finished one time, so that cost doesn't factor in. So when you add up all these cost differences together, it's about $120 of extra value for a price tag that's $320 more MSRP-wise. So that kind of makes it seem like to me that you're paying about $200 for that little engraving on the top of the slide. I definitely would not call that a bargain. So in the end, I think you'd have to be kind of foolish to buy this gun thinking it's going to be better than any SIG you already have. And I like to think I'm smarter than that. So you won't be seeing me buy one of these guns anytime in the near future. What? I thought I told you to stay in your box. You just made me look like an idiot in front of everybody. Stupid pig-headed gun. You ain't even my real dad.